Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our program, Personal Financial Program. So this is just a continuation. Today we're going to look at the budgeting, so budgeting program with practical examples, because always put more emphasis on practicality. So just to get the idea really. So in the case of budgeting, really, it's all about breaking up the cash flow throughout the year. So you can take, maybe you want to see how the income, the expenses as well, or then you can get the net profit or the cash flow from that. So that's all about budgeting. So the first example, we're going to look at the 50, 30, 20 rule, budgeting rule, dividing 50, 30, and 20 budgeting rule. The second point, it will be the envelope system. The third point, we're going to look at the digital budgeting apps, the apps which can help you do the budgeting. The fourth point, or the example, it will be on the cash flow statements. The fifth one will be on the sinking fund. And then I'm going to give a quick summary at the end, just as I usually do in all the videos. So it's just like to sum up everything that which we learned throughout the video. So are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Tighten your belt and let's begin. So budgeting programs with practical examples. So this video will be simply tailored in Europe. So I don't want to get in America or Africa, but you can still use the same examples really everywhere you are. So in this case, we simply focused in Europe. It's all about personal financial program. This is just the heading on the budgeting. So budgeting programs are valuable tools for managing personal finances. So they are here to help you to manage the personal finances or personal financial programs. So they help individuals track the income, control the spending or expenditures, and save for financial goals. So it's all about the future as well, the present and the future. Try to correct the mistakes in the past. So I'm going to give you like practical examples of how budgeting programs can be applied. So in the case of a European context. So the first example, we're going to touch on the 50, 30, 20 budgeting rule. So it's like dividing 50%, 30%, and 20%. So what is it? So this budgeting method like divides income into three categories. So you have like 50% for necessities, the things which are necessary, the things which you need. The 30% for discretionary or variable spending, so the things which can change over time. And then the 20% allocation, it will be for savings instead of investment. So in this case, we're saying saving and debt payment. So that is how it works. So divide it really 50% for necessities, 30% for discretionary spending or variable expenses, and then 20% for savings and paying debt or debt payment. So practical example, let's imagine that you live in Germany or you are a German. So it will be like you get income of 3,500 euros. I'm going to use euros because I live in Europe. So I'm not going to use the dollar or the pound. So I'm going to stick with the euros, just as I usually do in all the examples. So let's imagine you have the income of 3,500 euros monthly salary. So you have like 50% of that and of necessities. So you'll get like 1,750. That would be like the 50% of 3,500 euros. So we have like 1,750. So in that case, you're going to pay, let's say, rent of 900 euros. Utilities like bills. So it will be like 150 euros. Groceries, 300 euros. And transport, like going back and forth to work, maybe 400 euros. So you have breakup really. That's all about budgeting, allocating the money to each necessity. So we have like the 30% discretionary spending, like the variable. It's like up to you to decide. So because they're changeable really. So that's all about the meaning of discretionary spending. So you have like 30% of 3,500. It will be like 1,050 euros. So you have like dining out, 200 euros. You have entertainment. You have to enjoy yourself, 150 euros. Shopping, 200 euros. And then traveling, let's say in this case, it will be all about vacation, like at the end of the year or once or twice a year, of 500 euros allocation just for traveling or vacations. So the 20% savings and debt payment, it will be like 20% of 3,500. It will be just 700 euros. You allocate like 400 euros for savings. You break them up, and then the credit card repayment, 300 euros. So that makes up 700 euros in the case of saving and debt repayment. So what is the method or the benefit of this method? So this method ensures that you allocate funds for essential needs, the things which you need, essential needs, enjoying some discretionary spendings, some variable spendings as well, and save for future goals or pay down debt. So in this case, I keep saying that saving is much better than spending or expenses, but investing is much better compared to saving and spending all together. So the second example to be the envelope system, like having the envelope, putting money, separating money, different envelopes. So what is it? So this method involves like allocating cash into envelopes designated like for specific spending categories. So you allocate money like into several or separate envelopes designated for specific spending categories. Like once the envelope is empty, no more spending is allowed in that category until the next budgeting period or until the next salary, until the next month. So if you empty one envelope, you cannot just open another envelope. You just leave it like that until the next salary comes up. Then we try to do the budgeting again. So the practical example, let's imagine that you live in France, because it's all based really the context in Europe. So let's say you have the income of 2,800 euros monthly salary. So the envelopes, this is how you're going to divide it. Like groceries, you allocate 300 euros for groceries. So we're going to divide or break up the 2,800 euros into several segments really, or different categories. So groceries, 300 euros for grocery, dining out 150 euros, entertainment 100 euros, transportation, it's all about traveling, so you allocate like 200 euros, and miscellaneous as well, like 100 euros. So the benefit is like it helps control the spending by physically limiting the amount available for each category, like preventing overspending. So physically putting money in different envelopes really. Number 3, it is all about the digital budgeting apps. So in this case, it is no longer physically, it's like going online as well, like different budgeting apps. So you can use, it's all about technology as well, new trends. So what is it? So the budgeting apps are digital tools that automate tracking and categorizing expenses or expenditures, like making budgeting more efficient really, making it more fun to do. The practical example, let's imagine that you live in France, so you are the citizen of, or you live in Spain, or citizen of Spain. So the app used is like the Fintonic, the FINTONIC, Fintonic app, which is a popular budgeting app in Spain. So features of the app is like you have the income tracking, which is good. Like it does it really automatically, imports bank transactions, like expense categorization as well, like categorizes spending into like the predefined categories. So it categorizes spendings or expenses into predefined categories like housing, utilities, leisures as well. Your budgeting settings or setting like allows setting budgetings or budgets for each category and provides alerts when nearly limits. So when you're already like when the limits is almost eating, when you're almost eating the limits, you get the notification on the alerts. Different alerts, like saving goals as well, like enables settings and tracking savings goals, which is good benefits, like the benefits as well. It's a great advantage as well, because you get automatic notifications instead of trying to remember or trying to remind yourself all the time. So the benefit of the apps, the budgeting app, like in Spain, like it provides a comprehensive view of financial health, and like automates tracking and helps manage spending with real-time notifications, real-time tracking notifications. So number 4, it will be like the example number 4, it will be the cash flow statement. So the cash flow is like you have the flow really try to divide it, like expenses, the income, expenditures, and things like that. That's all about the cash flows budgeting. So what is it? So these methods involve tracking all cash inflows and outflows. So the inflows is just like the income, the outflows is the expenses or expenditures, the money which goes out, the inflows is the money which comes in. So to ensure that you stay within your budget, so you're tracking all the inflows and outflows to ensure that you stay within your budget according to your mean, not taking more than what you deserve or more than you earn. So it's all about like spending according to your mean. So the practical example, let's say you live in Italy or you're an Italian citizen. So you have a monthly income of 2,500 euros. So let's break down your monthly expenses or expenditures. So let's say you have a fixed expenses, the things which remain the same throughout the month or every year. They're not changeable, they're not variables. So you have two like fixed expenses and a variable expenses or expenditures. So in the case of fixed expenses, let's say you allocate like 1,200 euros, which would go like rent, 800 euros for rent, 150 euros for utilities, and 250 euros for insurance. So all of those three remain constant every month, every year. So those are fixed expenses. Then we have variable expenses, the ones which you cannot predict. They're changeable every month. Can be lower, can go higher, the prices. So let's say we allocate like 800 euros for variable expenses. That would be like groceries. Let's say 300 euros allocation for groceries, 200 euros for transport as well. So in the case of transport, the price might go up, the price might go higher. So it depends on the scarcity as well. Dining out as well, 300 euros, just like speculations really. Because in the case of dining, the price might go high as well in the restaurant, or you might eat more than the previous month or less than the previous month. So it depends. Then we have savings. Let's say you allocate 500 euros for saving. So the benefit of that, like it helps to maintain a balanced cash flow. So keep everything really balanced, like ensuring that the income covers all expenses while allowing for savings. So in this case, the best, the practical advice, or the example to be like, you save first before spending. So the mistake which most people usually do, they start spending, then save the leftover, instead of doing the opposite, saving, then you can spend afterward. So in this case, you allocate 500 euros for saving, then you put like 1,200 euros for fixed. The things which you need really, like renting, you have to pay renting. Utilities, in this case, it might be like paying electricity bills and things like that, which are crucial or essential. And the insurance as well. In this case, it can be like a car insurance or your home insurance. So it depends, because the just 250, I will just presume that is your car insurance. And then variable expenses, we say the 800 euros allocation. So the benefit is good. You just spread out the cash flow, like ensuring that income covers all expenses while allowing for savings. That's the benefit. Then the fifth example is like the sinking fund, another one. There's another method. So what is the sinking fund method? So this budgeting method involves like setting aside small amounts of money regularly to cover large and frequent expenses. So you set like a small amount of money, or like regularly, like you keep building them up really over time, like to cover large amount and frequent expenses. So the practical example, let's imagine you live in Netherlands. So in this case, the goal it would be like you save, let's say, save 1,200 euros, like for annual holiday, like at the end of the year. So you have the monthly contribution of 100 euros in the plan. So you set aside, let's say, 100 euros each month in a dedicated saving account for the holiday. So in that case, 100 euros at the end of each month. So if you say 100 multiplied by 12 months, so you will get like 1,200 euros at the end of the year, which is a lot if you want to travel, or if you want to take some break, going abroad as well, enjoying your summer holidays. So the benefit of that as well, the sinking method or sinking fund method, it's like the benefits. It eases the financial impact of the large expenses by spending the cost or the spreading the cost overall over several months. So instead of saying like 1,200 euros for the case of a holiday, you just save at once. You just save really little by little, like every month, 100 euros allocation for your holiday expense at the end of the year. So if you say 10 multiplied by 12, you have already 1,200 euros at the end, which is a lot or plenty to do all your holidays adventures. So what can we say, ladies and gentlemen, in summary about all the 50, 30, 20 budgeting rule, about the envelope system, the digital apps, like in Spain, in the cash flow statement, and we have like the sinking fund method as well. So in summary, it's all about like these budgeting programs and method provide European individuals with diverse strategies. It can be an American individual can use the same method as well. My brothers and sisters in Africa and Asia as well can use the same methods or strategies to manage your financial or financial like effectively. So by choosing the right approach or tool, such as the 50-20 or 50-30-20 rule, like the envelope system, which is just so, the digital apps as well, like in Spain, so the cash flow statements or sinking funds, individual can achieve better financial control, save for future goals, and reduce financial stress. So in this case, we put more emphasis in saving instead of investment, because I already did the videos on investment. So I said saving is much better than spending or expenses, but investing is far better than saving and expenses. So So that is the end, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and keep sharing the videos to reach more people. So you can go to my playlist as well to see all the financial videos which are already recorded. So in this case, we're simply looking at the personal financial programs. So in this case, we just look at the budgeting, like dividing, looking at the income, expenses, and the cash flows, or the income, the inflows and the outflows, the money which comes in, the money which goes out, like the expenses and the incomes. So thank you for watching, and ciao.